You're not depressed. You're not broken. You're not losing your mind. But something is deeply, unmistakably wrong, and you feel it every single day. You wake up, you go through the motions, you scroll, you sleep, you repeat, and somewhere in the back of your skull, there's this quiet voice that whispers, "Is this really it?" If that hits somewhere real, stay with me, because what I'm about to share might be the most important thing you hear this year, and I don't say that lightly. Before we go any further, if this kind of content speaks to you, if you're someone who wants to understand yourself, your life, and why things feel the way they feel, hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell. I put out videos that actually make you think, not just entertain you. Think. Okay, let's get into it. Here's what nobody tells you. Depression has a cousin, a quieter, sneakier cousin that doesn't show up in diagnostic manuals and doesn't get talked about in therapy waiting rooms. It mimics depression almost perfectly. The low energy, the numbness, the feeling that color has been drained out of your life like someone turned the saturation down on everything. But it's not depression. It's something else entirely. And the distinction matters more than you know, because if you treat the wrong problem, you stay stuck forever. The word is disconnection, and once you understand what that actually means, you will never see your life the same way again. Let me tell you about a guy. We'll call him Marcus. 29 years old, good job, decent apartment, friends he could text if he needed to. By every external measure, Marcus was fine. More than fine, actually. He had what a lot of people spend their 20s chasing. But Marcus hadn't felt genuinely happy in over 2 years. Not sad, exactly, not crying in the shower, just flat, like someone had taken all the volume out of his emotions, and he was just existing at this low, muffled frequency. He went to his doctor, got screened for depression, came back borderline, was handed a prescription and a referral. He took the pills for 4 months. They didn't do much. He tried therapy, talked about his childhood. Useful, sure, but the flatness remained, and Marcus started to wonder if this was just who he was now, if something in him had permanently switched off. It hadn't, and I'll tell you exactly what was actually happening to Marcus in just a moment. But first, I need you to understand something about the human brain, because this is where it gets genuinely fascinating. Your brain, this 3-pound organ that runs every thought you've ever had, every emotion you've ever felt, every dream you've ever chased, was built for a completely different world. A world with fire and darkness and physical effort and face-to-face storytelling and real consequence and genuine silence. Not this world. Not a world of infinite scroll and artificial light and 600 decisions before noon and thousands of human faces every day that you'll never actually meet. Not this. Your brain is running ancient software on a modern machine, and the machine is overloading. Here's what happens when that overload hits. The brain, in its brilliance, starts doing something called emotional dampening. It's a survival mechanism. When inputs become too overwhelming, too constant, too shallow, the brain essentially turns down the volume on all emotional signals, not just the bad ones, all of them. The joy, the excitement, the drive, the love, everything gets quieter, and you walk around wondering why nothing feels like it used to, why that thing you used to love doesn't hit the same, why even good news lands flat. That's not depression. That's your brain protecting itself from a world it wasn't built to handle. And Marcus, sitting in his apartment at 11 p.m. with his phone in his hand and the television on in the background and 3 different chats open and a podcast playing through one earbud, Marcus was the perfect case study. He wasn't depressed. He was overstimulated, underconnected, and completely starved of the kind of experiences that actually make a human being feel alive. Now here's where I need to pause, because I want to be careful. I am not saying depression isn't real. It absolutely is. It's a serious condition that affects millions of people and can require serious intervention. If you're in that place, please talk to someone. I mean that. But I am saying that there's a massive, massive population of people who have been handed a depression diagnosis when what they're actually experiencing is a crisis of disconnection. And those two things require very different solutions. One might need medication, the other needs something medicine can't give you. So what does disconnection actually look like? Let me give you the signs, and I want you to be honest with yourself as you listen. You feel like an observer in your own life, like you're watching yourself from the outside. Things happen to you, but they don't really land. You're present in body, but not in spirit. Sound familiar? You find yourself craving stimulation constantly, but nothing satisfies it. You reach for your phone not because you're bored, because the silence feels unbearable, and you don't even know why. You feel closest to yourself at weird, unexpected moments, maybe during a really hard workout, or when you're driving alone at night with music on, or during a conversation that went deeper than you expected. Those moments feel like coming up for air, and then they pass, and you go back under. You feel lonely even around people, not just sometimes, regularly. You could be in a crowded room surrounded by people who genuinely like you and still feel this strange, inexplicable isolation, like there's glass between you and everyone else. And maybe the biggest one, you've lost the plot of your own life. You don't know what you want anymore, not really. The goals feel borrowed. The dreams feel like echoes of something you used to believe in. You're moving forward because stopping feels scary, but you have no idea where forward actually leads. That was Marcus, every single one. And here's what finally cracked it open for him. About 18 months into his fog, Marcus took a solo trip, not some eat, pray, love spiritual journey, just a camping trip. 5 days, no data service, a tent, a sleeping bag, some food, and the kind of silence that's so complete it almost sounds loud. He didn't want to go. His therapist suggested it almost offhandedly. He went because he'd run out of other ideas. The first 2 days were brutal. His mind raced. He felt the phantom pull of his phone every 20 minutes. His thoughts were loud and chaotic and uncomfortable. He had nothing to distract himself from himself, and that was terrifying. But somewhere around day 3, something shifted. He started noticing things. The way light moved through trees in the morning, the sound of water over rocks, the feeling of being genuinely tired from physical movement, not from sitting in a chair for 9 hours. He started thinking clearly, not anxiously, just clearly. And on the 4th night, sitting by a fire with nobody around and nothing to do, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in 2 years. He felt present, not happy in some euphoric way, just present, alive in the most basic, fundamental sense of the word. And he started crying, not because he was sad, because he had forgotten what it felt like to actually be there, inside his own life. Now I know what you're thinking. Great story, but I can't just disappear into the woods every time I feel disconnected. And you're right, that's not the point. The point is what the woods revealed. The point is what Marcus discovered when all the noise stopped. He didn't discover that he needed nature. He discovered that he needed signal, real signal, in a world that had buried him in noise. Here's what I mean. Modern life is extraordinarily good at giving us the simulation of connection while starving us of the substance. You have 100 friends online, but nobody you can call at 2 a.m. without feeling like a burden. You have constant entertainment, but nothing that genuinely moves you. You have information. God, you have information, but almost no wisdom. You have productivity and achievement and forward motion, but no sense of meaning underneath it all. We have replaced depth with volume, and the brain, the ancient, brilliant, deeply human brain, knows the difference. It always knows the difference. There's a concept in psychology called the need for belonging. It's not just a nice to have, it's a survival need, as hardwired as hunger. Humans who were disconnected from their tribe in prehistoric times didn't survive. The brain learned to treat social disconnection as a physical threat. That's why loneliness doesn't just feel bad emotionally. It actually creates physical pain signals. It raises cortisol. It suppresses the immune system. It disrupts sleep. Chronic disconnection is genuinely physically harmful, and we are living in the most chronically disconnected era in human history, while simultaneously being the most superficially connected. That paradox is killing us quietly. And here's the twist that I think will actually change the way you see this. The very tools we use to feel less alone are often the primary drivers of our disconnection. Social media was built to simulate belonging while maximizing engagement. And engagement, as it turns out, is not the same as connection. Engagement is reaction. It's dopamine. It's the fast hit that feels like something, but leaves you emptier than before. Real connection is slow. It's uncomfortable. It requires vulnerability and presence and the willingness to be truly seen by another human being. And almost nothing in your phone delivers that. Almost nothing in your daily routine delivers that. And so you scroll for 4 hours and put down your phone feeling worse than when you picked it up, and you don't know why, and you do it again tomorrow. Marcus figured this out, not all at once, but over the months that followed that camping trip.